Hello everyone, it is a pleasure for me to introduce you all and welcome you to session number 3 about the grand challenges of VAHC. And before I go into details, my name is Jürgen Bernert. Let's first have Bob on the floor presenting a nice reflection of EuroVis panel, and afterwards I come back on stage.
Thank you, everybody. So this is going to be a summary of a previous panel. We had a panel at EuroVis 2025, and the panel was called Future Challenges and Unsolved Problems in Health Visualization. I went back through that panel and I made notes and I tried to summarize all the challenges and unsolved problems that we identified in that panel. So this is a summary, this is a 10-hour summary. A 10-minute summary of that panel. But before we jump in, I do have a public service announcement, and it is really a public service announcement, like I am providing a public service. It's for the EuroVis 2026 conference. I hope that you can all join us at the EuroVis 2026 conference. It only happens in the UK approximately once per decade. This will be the only time that it ever happens in Nottingham in our lifetimes. So I welcome you to join. There will be some bow and arrow shooting. If you like to shoot bow and arrows, we'll have an archery ball. What's that? Archery. Yes, archery. Yes. Axe throwing. We'll have an axe throwing contest for people that don't know how to speak British English, for example. Now this is serious. We actually do have student scholarships, so you're welcome to have a look at that. Registration is already open. So if you have a budget that's about to expire and there's a little bit of money left over that you want to forward spend, this is a great opportunity to do so. If you have any questions about EuroVis, please let us know. Okay, back to the real business. So the Future Challenges and Unsolved Problems in Health Visualization was an invited panel at EuroVis 2025. It was held on the 5th of June 2025 in Luxembourg, and it featured Jürgen, David, myself, Bernard, Renata, and Anna. So this is a summary of what we identified of future challenges and unsolved problems. It includes audience feedback too. That should be here, like plus audience feedback, audience discussion. So that's incorporated into this summary as best as I could. I tried to synthesize the challenges a little bit so they're grouped into 4 categories. It's not a perfect grouping. So there's a human-centered set of challenges and unsolved problems. There's a data-centered group. There's a process and software-centered group of challenges. And just for Sylvia, there's another category called task-oriented unsolved problems and challenges in where are we? Health visualization. So here's a summary of some of the human-centered challenges and unsolved problems that we identified. This is the densest slide out of all of them. We identified complexity, the complexity of people. The complexity of people and their health is definitely an unsolved problem and a major challenge. We identified personalization as a theme. Somebody spoke about personalization. We saw a presentation earlier today on personalization. Adoption of tools is a major problem. I think that's something that everybody can agree on, right? And there are some subtleties about the different stakeholders. We often leave out management as a stakeholder, but management is who makes the decisions in the end about what to adopt. Of course, there's time management. Nobody has enough time to do anything anymore. Collaboration is a challenge. Finding people that are interested in visualization, for example, to collaborate with. It's non-trivial. Widening participation was a major human-centered theme and challenge. So trying to communicate with everybody for example, how inclusive can we communicate to everybody? Health literacy was one of the topics we identified as a future challenge. Democratizing health knowledge, making it accessible to everyone. These are all related. I tried to put these together because they're all related and closely connected to one another. Engaging underserved communities or underrepresented groups. That's one of the future challenges and unsolved problems. And of course, this unsolved problem of co-decision making, so making a decision between more than one person is an area of future research. And then Jürgen, one of his favorite topics is the trusts. I'm on the I don't trust it side, by the way. This is an unsolved problem for me. Like, I don't trust anything. Defining and measuring trust, it was identified as a challenge. Under trust, over trust, I'm on the under trust category. Reliability and consistency, right? Especially in this age of AI. And then, of course, the final challenge, which is we're never going to solve, is changing behavior to improve health outcomes. That's never going to happen. We have data-centered challenges and unsolved problems, so this is not too difficult to imagine. We have heterogeneous data from many different sources, which makes it more complex. Right? Health data is very complex. Sensor data adds complexity, right? Because sensor data is very it can be very lengthy. Right? It could be months, could be years. And longevity of health data is a special characteristic. In the ideal world, you have decades of health-related data, right? Decades that span entire lifetimes would be an ideal set of health data, right? Data governance is a major challenge, right? So deciding who has access to health data, sharing health data, privacy, security, protection, and regulation, these are all challenges related especially to health data. Luckily, France has solved this problem, according to Jean-Daniel. So thank you, Jean. The question for France is, can you translate that for us for the rest of the world into English? It's all in French, I guess. Yeah, that's a problem. Data labeling. So we heard about data labeling at the conference. Was it today, or did we hear about it today, or was it just yesterday? There was a data labeling topic. Uncertainty, right? We have noisy data, we have missing values, which we've seen, we have lack of ground truth, major problem, major unsolved problem. Statistical rigor was brought up as one of the challenges, selection bias, and choosing which data to apply a retrospective analysis to, and of course completeness, missing values, and we had a talk today that described data that's never captured, right? The personalization. So there's some overlap between the human-centered challenge here and the data-centered challenge, because the data often describes a person, right? But there's a lot of data that's not collected and not stored about individuals. And of course, generating synthetic data isn't like how useful is our synthetic data generation and so on. We have another category which we call process or software-centered challenges and unsolved problems. This is essentially dedicated in some ways to AI, right? So there's a lot of experiments of using LLMs and other related things to support health data and health data understanding. Some people are experimenting with chatbots to support mental health. There are clearly some major unsolved problems there. There's some controversial topics there as well. Trust building methods comes up again as a theme. So it's a human-centered theme, but it's also a software-centered theme, right? It's the interaction between the human and the software that is supposed to hopefully create trust. Developing methods that are explainable and transparent in the explainable AI, certainly an unsolved problem. Evaluating the quality of explanations, health-related explanations provided by something like an AI piece of software. Are the explanations good, and how do we evaluate the feedback and the explanations that we get? Trying to develop algorithms that provide a diagnosis and trying to assess their accuracy, certainly an unsolved problem. That's something I noticed yesterday, by the way. And of course, predictive models, developing algorithms that can predict future outcomes. And correctness was a major theme. So correctness and accuracy are closely related to one another. So how do we identify when something is correct? How can we verify and build confidence? Of course, we're all thinking about these hallucinations that occur very often. Reproducibility is a major challenge. That's true about the entire VIS community, not just the health VIS community. Identification of false positives and false negatives was a theme, and cost-benefit analysis of visualization software. Is all the software we're developing even worth it? Like, does it save money? Does it benefit financially anybody? And it's not very often that I have a slide dedicated to a person, but this time I do. Congratulations, Sylvia. So the reason I struggled a little bit with this is because there's an overlap between user-centered challenges and task-centered challenges. So it's not always clear exactly how they separate from one another, but I made an attempt. So critical thinking as a task. So thinking as a task is something that we discussed. Critical validation of health-related LLMs or machine learning output. Remembering what we see is identified as an unsolved problem, or making some memorable visualizations. I can say that I can not remember 99.9% of all the slides I've seen. That would be a good user study. Like, how many slides can you remember in your life? Very good user study. Creating a story or a narrative was identified as an unsolved problem or a future challenge. And again, decision making, the theme of decision making comes up again, especially co-decision making. If only one person makes the decision, it's less likely to cause a positive outcome. Uncertain or unclear objectives were identified as a theme. Again, the cost-benefit analysis of the software was identified as a challenge, and of course, decision making, assessing the confidence of decisions and the confidence associated with decisions. Okay, that's my summary. And in case anybody didn't notice, there's a useful state-of-the-art report called Electronic Health Record State-of-the-Art Report, just in case you didn't know about that. It's out there. Any questions? I don't know if Jürgen wants to have questions or not. He's the chair.
We have hardly any time, but if there's a good one, please go for that.
Only good questions. It better be a good one.
In your start, the first challenge is scalability. It doesn't appear in your slide. I think it's the elephant in the room. So
Scalability. Could I put that into?
Scalability.
Yes, that's true. I mean, that's just too obvious. That's why I didn't put it in there. It's not a health-centric problem. Like it's a problem for everybody, regardless of what you're studying.
But
so
the
that's
number of the complexity of data and the amount of attributes and raw data.
That's covered here. That's covered here.
Heterogeneous is what you that's for scalability.
We only focused on the health-centered.
Scalability is not a problem anymore.
That's for everybody. That's not special to health, the
But then
scalability.
You may remove it from the state of the art.
It
Number
removes
one
data
from that.
labeling, uncertainty, rigor, completeness.
Yeah.
And you can remove others.
No, I think these. No, I think these are really these are really health centric. They have a special category into health, the incompleteness and errors and things like that.
Just for clarification, this is not an exhaustive list. It's the
That's
list
true.
what was compiled at the panel from EuroVis.
That's correct.
It's not
Yes.
Bob's fault.
Good point.
There's no scalability.
Yes, they removed it. You
No,
removed
What about guidance?
I just, I never defend.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Jean-Daniel, for that amazing feedback.
It's a good point.
It is a good point. Yeah.
Bob, thank you so much.
Yep.
It couldn't have run better. So first of all, you opened the floor super nicely. And also we already got some first engagement of our participants, which was exactly what we are all hoping for today, especially in that session. It is going to be an activity session. First of all, we will deliver some content.